Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday. Happy Monday. Happy new week. Glad to have you all here. I see some people talking about the transition to Threads. Still posting on Threads. Really just hoping that they create the follower feed. I do want that. I want topic search. I'd like some sort of basic trending, but with, good moderation and everything. But anyway, for now, we're here and we have stuff to talk about. Now, we don't have much time. I have to get dressed. I have to do my hair. But lay off of me. I'm still here. I'm still doing a full show in a little bit. Is that not enough? For now, though, we're going to talk about a few bits of news. And I want to start off with, look, I love when awful right-wingers make absolute fools out of themselves, but it matters, hey mama, it matters if it's real, okay? If it's not real, it can be temporarily fun, but let's not go too far. Here's a fun video. You might have seen it going around on the internet.
Hungry. Hungry.
So that is Ron DeSantis saying, hungry, as if he's Andy on The Office. Damn, Gabby, that is crazy heat 118. I would not want to live in that for even a minute, but thank you for being here. That hungry thing is not real. It's not real. I mean, look, he was there. That's bad lip reading. Bad lip reading did the hungry, and then someone cut it out and put it on Twitter, and it's got 2 million views. Now, the issue for Ron DeSantis is that I can do a fact check and say that it's not true, but 2 million people are not going to see this fact check, so he's probably screwed, and he is legitimately awkward. There's a reason it's so easy to buy that that's real, but it isn't actually real. Anyway. Okay, thank you. Tyler Hackner. Hey, May Money, what's up? Tyler Hackner here for 1 full year. Thank you for the year. Says John and Fran, IMO, the best pairing, no shade anyone else. Thank you. It's one of my favorite pairings to do. So that's not real. Now, we do have right-wingers actually embarrassing themselves coming up on the full show. And I guess maybe you would consider this video a better example of it, which is actually true. I mean, what's said in the video is not true, but this happened.
I get it. My guys who I stayed in touch with, many of them are just dear friends. They're like, hey, dude, there's no way you would have gotten away with that. I go, I know. Luckily, I don't snort cocaine. Like, it's not my thing.
I buy that. I think that's what... I don't snort cocaine. It's not my thing. I buy that. I think you seem like a guy who would never do anything like that. You've too much self-control, too much self-respect. You'd never do cocaine. That would be... That's not your bag, baby. So, again, I don't care if he does coke. Like, look, I don't do coke. I think that it probably does a lot of damage to a lot of people, but I don't particularly care. It's hardly the worst thing about him if he does do coke, which he definitely does. Can we just say that? Okay, let's move briefly to serious news, and then we'll get back more into the ridiculous. So hopefully you remember the massive protests that came about as a result of the killing of Mahsa Amini in Iran. We covered it, for months, and it was a lot of people died, a lot of people were disappeared. It was great to see people standing up to, the insane government of Iran. Well, for a long time, there had been sort of a pullback from the morality police, not enforcing some of the things that are technically laws there in Iran. Well, they are coming back in force. A new campaign to impose Islamic dress on women. It's devastating. It's devastating, for the people of Iran, for the women of Iran. It's devastating for all of those who organized to try to create a permanent change in the system of governance. Probably seen by many as, evidence that unfortunately it was super hard to imagine that it could work. We wanted it to work, but it's super difficult standing up, to so much entrenched power. But the fact that they're going back to the same sorts of laws, like that's just devastating. A ton of people died to stop this from happening, and it's still happening. Because again, as we've talked about so often, the world is plagued, our species is plagued by a lot of weaknesses and a lot of threats. One of the most threatening, the greatest weakness is weak men who are utterly terrified of women. And we see that as a constant across a lot of the Earth's surface, including America. Stickman Grit says, he didn't say he doesn't do coke, he said he doesn't snort coke, so cocaine enemas are still a possibility. I really hope that that's not what he was getting at there. But anyway, serious situation in Iran. Serious situation also in Texas. Construction workers are now protesting. You remember we talked about him effectively allowing the state government to override these local regulations. So they absolutely destroyed a bunch of the regulations, including regulations mandating water breaks amongst this insane heat. Well, they are now protesting. Like, how many decades have we been told from the right that these coastal elites don't understand real people's struggles? Well, is there any more real person than someone, I don't know, in like rural Texas building a fucking highway? Like, it's real stuff, real work that these construction workers are doing. Now, of course, no more real than in any other state, but that's what they would say. That's the position they would take. Well, maybe stop them from fucking keeling over. People are dying in Texas of the heat. And we can expect that every year after this is going to get worse. And yet the government is moving in the direction of, how dare you slow down construction by taking 15 minutes to drink water and get in the shade for a bit. This is the sort of thing that hopefully the Democrats will focus on in their bid to take down Ted Cruz, which we will be talking with a man who started a PAC to take out Ted Cruz. So we're going to be talking with him today on the show. Okay, one more quick story before we get to our main story. I'm not demanding the 1,000 likes because that just isn't time. The internet needs to stop, okay? There have always been crazy people in the world, but for much of the world's history, we didn't need to know about how crazy every random person is. Well, now we need to, because it's the internet, and they are very talkative people. So there's a tweet about Lindsay Lohan being pregnant. The photo of Lindsay Lohan pregnant. Now, you may not care that Lindsay Lohan is pregnant. I don't particularly care that Lindsay Lohan is pregnant. But some people really care, but not in the way that you might expect. So Mega says she's not pregnant. She's wearing a moon bump. You can't do hard drugs for decades and then still be fertile in your late 30s. Some woman in Ukraine is carrying a child she will human traffic in a few months. That has been seen, if you believe these numbers, which you shouldn't, by 1.7 million sets of eyeballs. It has over 800 retweets, which means 800 people, a fairly good-sized crowd, saw that and thought, I think the people who follow me need to know these thoughts. That's honestly not even the worst part. You then get the crazier people flocking to them, like this individual who also, this will be the least surprising thing in the world. Oh, what do you know? Pays Elon Musk $8 a month. Oh, what do you know? This new crazy pays $8 a month to Elon Musk. Didn't go far enough. Ukraine's been birthing all the world's babies for the last 50 years. Convenient that they now have a new war with a population decrease to make the books work. Also, new NATO member, new as in Neo, and NATO sounds like natal, doesn't it? Wait a second. Holy so if I'm following his well-reasoned train of thought, for half a century, no one has gotten pregnant except for Ukrainian women. Some of you might be thinking you know people who are pregnant or that you were pregnant. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. They're all in Ukraine. And despite the fact that the world's governments have all come together to produce babies in Ukraine and then eventually invade it to fix the numbers, how would that fix the... I don't know. They decided, you know what is the bet? Like the only thing better than for 50 years only having babies from one country. At the end, we're going to taunt everyone by saying new NATO member. So that some of them will be like, hey, wait a second. That sounds like neonatal. They're taunting us! Because that's what the global elites want. It's not enough for them to have all the babies from Ukraine. They want to taunt people on the internet. That is a few thousand views too. Twitter's full of this shit. Because this is the sort of stuff that people believe. My job, you know, there's multiple ways that you can conceptualize what my job is. But there's a persuasive element to it. There's supposed to be. Ideally, I'm supposed to persuade people, you know, towards the values I have or whatever. would anyone care to explain to me how I'm supposed to convince those two people of fuck all? If you can believe the Ukraine baby thing, how exactly am I getting through to you again? Anyway, let's talk about something stupid. Look, I'm going to keep it real. The main reason that I want to talk about this story is so I can promote what our top 10 list is going to be this week. So Francesca and I, we do top 10 lists for our tier 2 and tier 3 members on YouTube every week. This time, so we've got this brewing fight between Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert. We're going to talk about it in just one sec. We've got Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. You could, in theory, have those be two of the matches on the card for a big political and economic elites clash pay-per-view event. Now, if you did have those two fights, obviously you have to have more than that. So what would the other 8 fights in a top 10 be? Well, we're going to be doing that list later on today. I had a lot of fun putting together. If I could book these fights, who would I have fight, and under what stipulations? What sort of fight would each be? So anyway, that's going to be coming. So, according to the Daily Beast, and they have some sources, including Congress people, Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert are in more dire straits in terms of their feud than you might think. And look, you might think that things have gotten pretty tense between them. Of course, you know, with the Marge repeatedly calling her a little bitch, including on podcasts. It's disgusting stuff. But look, what I am here to do is not to delight in the prospect of some sort of cat fight or whatever. I don't like that. I think that, you know, socially in America, we're too quick to imply that women who are disagreeing are just cats or whatever. It's misogynistic. I'm not interested in that. For me, the reason that I am interested in this is partially because so many Republican Congress people are like telling on them. Like Representative Tim Burchett saying a fist fight could break out at any moment. He's apparently a professional wrestling fan. He says, it's entertaining to think that a fist fight could break out. I kind of dig that. I would prefer not to have one of my colleagues talking about me potentially fighting another human being in that particular way. The thing for me, though, is they apparently hate each other's guts. Now, politicians hating each other's guts, hey Chub Toad, is not rare. And by the way, they talk about serious stuff. Sometimes it makes sense for politicians to hate each other's guts. But in the case of Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert, what is the disagreement here? Neither of them knows anything about policy or appears to have any policy-related goals. They do occasionally disagree on leadership stuff, like whether Kevin McCarthy should be the leader, although it's never particularly clear why they care about that. The only stuff that they truly care about when it comes to policy is anti-woke bullshit. And they both have identical positions on all of that. So what exactly is the big fight? I do not want to believe that it is just jealousy. It's just wanting to be the shiniest thing on the right. I am trying to assume that that's not what it is, that there is something more to it. But they are so similar in what they focus on, how they speak. They're not the same person. Marjorie Greene is legitimately crazier. But why exactly the bad blood? Even Paul Gosar, he's comparing their battle to that of a two-way sword. I just think that whatever is there could be utilized both ways. People make decisions that they have to work and live by, and you kind of hate being in their shoes. Paul Gosar is like, what's up with these people? Like, can they not get along? Paul Gosar is crazy. Paul Gosar should be the craziest person in the House. And he's looking at their fight and he's like, you know what? I can't make heads or tails of this. Ryan Nowicki says in a super chat, recently helped make an LLM prompt that gets 2 chat systems to collaborate on a coding request. You can just copy paste between them and it works. I only understand some of those words. It does sound impressive though. So I'm glad that you helped make that. But I don't know exactly what it means. But anyway, look. The issue with this feud is that in prior years, and I do have to end in just a moment because I do still have to get dressed. In prior years, with other people, we would have never heard about this. Maybe in a biography someday there'd be something. But with them, it has to be public because both of them desperately want to be seen to be the victor out of this fight. But especially Marjorie Greene is just a podcaster these days. Like, she's gonna talk about this openly. And so if you're Boebert, you kind of want to get out in front of it. Now, Boebert seems to have kind of won this most recent round because Greene did get kicked out of the House Freedom Caucus. So what's the next battlefield that they fight on? Is it a primary contest? Is it access to Donald Trump? Marge seems to have the advantage when it comes to that. Anyway, I appreciate everyone saying that I age myself by wearing a suit. I'm just doing it a little bit for a little while. Can we just have some fun with it? Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. We almost hit 1,000 likes even without me requesting it, which I do appreciate. Thank you to the 2,500 of you who are here. We've got way more where that came from on the full show coming up with Francesca Fiorentini in 11 minutes. I hope to see you there. If you didn't already hit the like button, feel free to hit it on the way out. But thank you for being here.